All right. Hello, everyone. Very warm welcome to the WebPro Panel workshop at Cloudbazaar. I hope you guys are having a good time at Cloudbazaar. And my name is Jayesh. I'll be running through the WebPro Panel workshop today with you guys. I hope you guys are well and safe and doing okay. Uh, as part of the workshop today, I will be going through or giving you some insight into how the WebPro panel is designed to help you, the WebPro, run your business more efficiently. Uh, all right. So before I start, uh, just one quick announcement. We will be running a survey with you guys. So a link will be shared during the presentation. Please do look at it and fill it up. It would be a very short and small survey. It would really help us to improve your experience with us. Please do keep a lookout on that. Having said that, moving on. A quick introduction. Like I said, my name is Jayesh. I've been working with ResellerClub for the last couple of years. Been working in product for the team, and previous to that, I have a total of 7 years of work ex with almost 3.5 years in product, and the other part of it was mostly in software and data analytics. By way of education, I have an MBA from ISB, and previous to that, I completed my engineering from Mumbai University. So your typical MBA plus engineer graduate. Now, like I said, today we will be focusing on what the WebPro panel can help and do for you. But before I dive into what exactly the WebPro panel can do, I wanted to talk about a little about what the industry, where the industry is, what's happening in the industry, especially post-COVID, and how web pros are sort of primed to capture that opportunity. So having said that, let's talk a little about how digital adoption has accelerated post-COVID. I'm sure a lot of you must have seen a lot of reports which spoke about how digital adoption has increased, people have been going online, etc. So from that, I've sort of extracted 3 data points. The first one is about how there's been a 60% increase in total internet traffic across countries. So this is not for a specific country, but across countries, there's been about 60% increase, which is but natural with COVID coming in, people staying indoors. A lot of them have started going online. And the use cases for which they've started going online is primarily purchases, ed tech, for educational content, if you want to consume casual content, and all sorts of other use cases that were primarily offline have moved online, and that has seen a bump in internet traffic. So that's the first insight. Now the second one is more from a survey perspective. So Salesforce ran a survey with MSMEs, about 2,500 to 3,000 odd. And what they found in that survey was that almost 3/4 of the MSMEs mentioned that they survived because of going digital. And also they realized that if they had to grow, they had to continue down that road. So to this, if you look at both the 2 data points together, what we realize is that we know that the end customers are going online for a lot of different use cases. We also know that MSMEs have identified this. They know that even they need to go online, they need to go digital to make sure that they cater to these customers. And they're sort of primed. They already know that, we need to go digital. It's up to the service providers, in this case, web professionals, to come in and pitch. Now, when we go to the client as a web professional, there isn't a big push to make towards, you should go online or you should go digital. That's already set up in the customer's mind because of these conditions. The only question remains, can we pitch, or as a web professional, can you pitch well enough so that the end customer, which in this case is an MSME, chooses you over someone else? And the final third point, which is specific to the India base, is basically a pre-COVID stat. Now, out of the 63 million MSMEs in India, almost 60 odd percent were offline. So if you think about it and you combine the 2 data points, you realize that a lot of the MSMEs which were offline will now want to go online. So therein lies the opportunity for the web pros. And that is where we realize that the industry is also shifting, wherein the MSMEs are going online. There's an increasing trend towards going digital. And if the users do end up going digital, they would need some sort of a service provider that can help them maintain that presence, that can help them enhance their presence. Because if you think about it, MSMEs don't really, at the core of it, care about web presence or is scaling their business. Now, in today's world, getting if you want to scale or if you want to grow, you need to go digital. So that is why they do focus on going digital because of that. So given all of this, we do realize that the trend is moving towards people going online, and the web professionals in our minds are primed to take over or primed to capture this opportunity. And we on the WebPro panel, specifically talking about WebPro panel, we do want to make sure that we're providing the right tools and enabling you guys or the web professionals to capture this opportunity. Now, we've spoken to a few of you over a period of time since 2 or 3 years, and we've tried to figure out as to what are the operations or what are the activities that you generally perform to capture this sort of opportunity. So, moving on to the next slide, what kind of operations do web pros generally run? Now, this is a very generic view of based on our understanding after speaking to you guys. What are the operations like? So again, internally, we refer to web professionals as web pros for short. So we've kind of abbreviated it as web pros. So wherever you see web pros or just pros, we're primarily talking about web professionals. So what did we figure out after talking to you guys is that there are gamut of activities that you as a web pro perform, and it ranges from domains and hosting. I'll start from there, given that ResellerClub is primarily adds the most value to you in the domains and hosting management space. So that's kind of the basic or the core infrastructure that you need to create the web presence for your clients. But apart from that, there are multiple other things as well. So if I had to go clockwise from domains and management, we look at hiring and training. So as a web professional, you're building your team at every point of time. You're hiring new people, upskilling them, making sure they understand your processes, etc. Given the industry, given the change in industry right now, where people have a lot of opportunities to move around. This is obviously a problem across the board, not just for web pros, but even for big enterprises as well. But obviously, if you want to scale, you want to make sure that you have a team that can help you get to that growth. The second and a very critical item has been providing 24/7 support. Now, what we've heard is that a lot of the customers that the web pros have or you guys have, they don't really have a lot of technical know-how. For them, you are just the basic go-to IT person. So if there's anything at all related to their website, anything at all, you are the person that they call first. What that means is that you're available almost 24/7 via WhatsApp chats, phone calls, etc. And that means you're their IT guy basically. And this is important given that your entire relationship sort of rests on the kind of support that you provide, because it's not over once you've developed the software or the website. It's also the support that comes in. So obviously there's a lot of overhead in maintaining the support so that the client relationship is intact. The third one is around billing and admin. Right now, when you're growing, when you're capturing all the demand, you want to make sure that your internal business processes are running smoothly as well. So that can be anything from making sure that you're invoicing your clients right, receiving the payments on time, making sure that you're maintaining all your client data in a very systemized and organized way, because ultimately all of that information needs to sit somewhere. It may not be automated, but there has to be some sort of a process that you follow to make sure that you're capturing all this information so that you keep the grease in the wheels, right? Because you want to make sure that the business runs in a smooth fashion. So again, but this is an overhead that you want to sort of attack as well. The next one is biz dev and sales. So with business development and sales in this area, what we figured is a lot of you have told us that the primary source of clients has been referrals, which is basically an organic way of getting clients. But a lot of you do have a separate business development and salesperson, or you do it yourself as well to grow your business. Now, in today's time, what's happened is you do have a lot of leads, but the conversion is going to be the next part of it, right? Where you're going out to more customers, you're reaching out to more customers, but there are other web pros that you're competing with as well. So how to differentiate that there then becomes the main selling point. And finally, building websites and apps. This is the biggest one, as you can see by the size as well. We do realize that there are multiple activities that need to go on in building websites and apps. That's right from getting after post getting your client, you want to make sure that you're getting the requirements on time, the right kind of requirements, making sure that then you're collaborating internally and building it out, testing it with the client, making sure that they get it signed off. And finally, after building, there's a maintenance part of it that kicks in as well. So if you look at the entire gamut of, or the entire ecosystem of activities that you need to perform, one thing that we've realized is that as a web pro, you are always hard pressed for time because there's always something or the other that's happening. We've seen web pros before COVID, obviously, where they had sticky notes on their desk, on their machines, and they had multiple Excels with a lot of different data points, etc. So there were always things happening. And what that basically tells us is we're trying to do a lot of things. There's a lot of overhead, and basically that means that there are problems that we can there are problems in the entire flow, in the workflow. So having said that, how can the WebPro panel help you as a pro? What can we on the WebPro panel offer, or what is it that we offer right now that can sort of help alleviate some of the problems that we kind of discussed earlier? So if I had to give you a very short vision or a short view of what we're trying to do with the WebPro panel is primarily two things. One is that we're trying to offer tools that can help run a bunch of your business activities smoothly. So a lot of the problem statements that we called out earlier, we want to make sure that we tackle each of those, maybe not all, but at least the important ones, so that a lot of the activities that we perform are centralized in one dashboard in the WebPro panel. And we want to do that keeping user experience at the forefront. We want to make sure that our user experience is really smooth, is really easy to use, our UX is good enough, so that every time you come in, it's very easy for you to kind of interact with the panel. And also, given that your customers might have access to their customer panel, we want to make sure that their experience is also good enough, given that that experience will reflect on your brand. So this is primarily what we're trying to do with the WebPro panel. If I had to dive slightly deeper into how are we thinking of the experience play. So our goal with experience is primarily twofold. If you look at the slide here, divided this into two parts. One is simplifying the current panel, and second, modularizing the features basically for pros so that they can choose the ones that they want on demand. That's how we divided it. Now, when we talk about the first part of it, right, simplifying the current panels, what I really mean by that, a bunch of you guys might have been with ResellerClub since a long time. And previous to the WebPro panel, we also have an old control panel, which we used to refer to as OrderBox. Now with OrderBox, it's a very feature-rich panel, given that it was built a long time ago, and a lot of the requirements or a lot of the problems that it was trying to solve existed 10 odd years ago. But now, given that we're focusing on the web pros as a user group, what we wanted to do with the web pro panel was create a panel which is really, really useful and user-friendly for the web pros. So we bring in features that solve the problems for the web pros only, and don't not bring in everything that's available on the old panel. And again, the second point was to make sure that the core experience of maintaining your orders, the purchase, billing experience, all of that is simple and straightforward, so that you don't really need to find and spend too much time getting that information. So that's the first part of it, which focuses a lot on customer experience and making sure that we give you the relevant content. And the second one is on providing you the features on demand. So what we mean by that is that on the WebPro panel right now, we have provided modules that can be used on demand. So we have the billing engine, which allows you to bill your clients for your services as well. We have a storefront called Supersite, wherein you can resell the products that we provide you. And finally, we also have payment gateways that we launched recently. So if you have an account with, let's say, PayPal, CC Avenue, PayU, you can integrate those payment gateways with the storefront. So basically, once you have a payment gateway integrated, your customers can pay you online. You don't really need to worry about any sort of overhead at all. And finally, from a vision perspective on WebPro, we want to make sure that the system scales as the user group changes. So if there are users who are for just reselling and doing nothing else, we want to make sure that our modules are kind of plug and play such that they can use the ones that they want, and the others that they don't need, they can keep away. So that's the overall idea with the WebPro panel, that we give you guys a really good, clean user experience. And secondly, we want to make sure that the tools that we provide are on demand, and whichever ones that you want to use, you can just activate those and not worry about the other. So those are the twofold, or the two dimensions across which we want to play with on the WebPro panel. So I do have a demo towards the latter half of towards the end. But before I get into that, I just wanted to sort of touch upon a few of the changes or a few of the things that we are focusing on the WebPro panel by showing you some screenshots. So first off, again, from an experience standpoint, we've simplified the order management view. So essentially, all orders that you purchased are available in under single panel, and all the order views are optimized for troubleshooting. So if you look at the screenshot, which we'll be also going in through the demo, you'll see that there is a timeline view right on the right hand side here, which essentially gives you all the information that you need. So if there are any changes that have been made to the order, you can view that across a single domain, and that just helps you with better troubleshooting. And all the actions that you want to take on that particular order, all that is available in a single view for you. So everything's sort of consolidated and easy for you to manage. And second is a revamped customer panel. So for a bunch of the web pros or a bunch of the web professionals, the customers do want to get access to their own panel. So what we've done here is that we've given you a customer panel. So basically, when your customer logs into the customer panel, the panel that they see is with your logo and your branding. And the user experience that we've built here is very similar to how your panel looks. If we've simplified it to make sure that it optimizes for order management, there are shortcuts available on the dashboard for common actions, renewals, and you can also look at expiring orders, etc. So all of this is something that we'll be going through in the demo, but I just wanted to call these couple of things out just from an experience standpoint as to what are we doing differently, or what are we trying to do essentially. And now I wanted to talk a little about the tools that I touched upon earlier as to what are the tools that we are offering. So the first one is Pro Invoicing. So that from a Pro Invoicing perspective, what we essentially wanted to do was we wanted to solve the problem of invoicing and maintaining payment information of your clients. So in the panel, we currently allow you to customize your invoices so that it reflects your own branding, so that it seems like you're a really well branded web professional. And we have multiple templates as well, so all your invoices sort of look pretty cool and professional when you send it out. And more importantly, we also enable you to track all your payments in one place. So if you want to have reminders in it, if you want to send it out directly from the panel, if you want to update the status, everything is available in panel for you. So that's the problem again we're trying to solve here, is to make sure that the entire billing management and invoicing is taken care of with this. The second thing is payment gateways. Here, this is again something that was available in the old panel previously, and we've added support and a different kind of experience on the WebPro panel for this. With this functionality, what we are essentially trying to do is that in case if you have an account with, let's say, PayPal, PayU, CC Avenue, any gateway that you're currently using, you can add this gateway into the panel and start receiving funds from your clients. So this gateway will start showing up on your Supersite. So Supersite is essentially a storefront where you can resell our products. And also this payment gateway will start showing up in the customer panel. So if there are any renewals or payments that your customer needs to make to you, he or she can make them through the customer panel. So that way you directly receive funds into your account without having to, follow up with your clients or keep talking to them about, doing the constant follow-ups, which, because we have heard that follow-ups have been a problem, wherein you need to keep going back to the clients, and there are delays, and that just increases the time to getting your cash back. And finally, what we also have is a mobile app. Uh, in Try it out, please do download it and give us some feedback. This is available on both Android and iOS. So with the mobile app, what we've done is we've put in all the on-the-go actions that you as web pros needed. So we've done a bunch of customer interviews and discovery to figure out what is it that you as a web professional would want on the mobile app. So currently what we have support for is buying domains, renewing orders, contacting support, adding funds to wallet. But the idea essentially here is on the go, if you want to have some sort of actions done, the mobile app is the best way to do it. And the experience again is very consistent with how we built the WebPro panel and the customer panel as well. So there's that consistency, and all the actions that you want to take on the go are available in the mobile app. So yeah, in case you guys haven't tried it out, please do download it on Android as well as iOS. So again, I kind of touched upon a few of the things or a few of the offerings. There are other things as well that we offer, but I just wanted to touch upon a few important ones. When you do go through the panel yourselves, you will realize that there are other things like the Supersite, etc., which again I'll demo. But just wanted to give you guys a sense of what are the more important ones that are available right now. Right, having said that, time for a demo. Let me just pull up my screen for the demo. All right, cool. I hope you guys are able to see the panel that I'm currently presenting. Cool. I will actually let me get started with this. So this is the WebPro panel that I'm currently presenting to you. Here, when as soon as you land on the panel, we get the home screen or the home view here. And in the home view, what we've done is essentially given you a list of orders that you recently purchased, and also given you a quick filter of orders that are up for renewal. So if I had to switch to the to be renewed tab, you'd get a view of what are the orders that are going to be renewed, and it has a clear demarcation of the orders that have expired and the orders that are expiring in the next 30 days. So in case you want to quickly renew these orders, you can do a quick check here and hit renew, and you can either pay with wallet or on the WebPro panel, we've also added the option of paying on the go. So in case you don't have sufficient funds in the wallet and you want to pay on the go, you can hit pay online. There'll be options available here. You can choose whichever gateway you prefer, and then um, it's also possible to download this list as an Excel and store it in case you do want to keep that reference for later. And on the recently added orders, we do have uh, quick actions that we do on the screen. So if you have a host So I'm sorry about that. Let me share my screen again. All right. Uh, so I was talking about how the panel is structured into two groups. One is by my business, and the second is settings. Uh, the reason why we've set it up this way is when we've interacted with web professionals, we've realized that as web pros, you run the business a certain way. So that's how we've tried to structure the My Business section, wherein we talk about all the orders first, then the customers that you have under you, and finally the billing, the bills that you've generated. And in settings, we have two sections, Pro Suite and My Shop. In Pro Suite, we kind of call out all the modules that are available for you. And finally, in My Shop, we help you set the pricing for products. So in case you are reselling products, this would be the section that you would go to and set prices for them. So going into the orders section first, this is the list of all the orders that you would have purchased with ResellerClub. So the entire list is present here. And again, we do have the same filters here where we talk about products that are expiring in the next 30 days and products that have already expired and will be deleted. So in case you want to again take that action of renewal, you can select the ones that you want to renew, choose the tenure, etc., and hit renew to complete that action. And another call out here was that we made order management very simple, right? That's what we discussed in the deck as well. So if I had to look at all the orders under the domain only for demo.info, I'd hit this and I would get this view where I look at the domain registration, the domain that I purchased, the single domain, Linux hosting, and the business email. So all the three would be available in the same view. And the other thing that we've added on here is a timeline view on the right hand side. So all the changes that you've made. So for example, in this case, for this domain, there was some modification done to the name server. So all of that is recorded here. So any changes made to any of the products under this domain will be recorded on here. And you'll know that in case there are issues with any of these products, what and where did it exactly fail. So from a troubleshooting perspective, this definitely should help. And in case you want to move orders, so for example, right now, this order is under Nazifa. If I had to move that under a different client, I can always choose move orders, choose the new client. So let's say I want to move this under Jayesh. I can do that here and add this customer. So currently there are some actions that are pending on this, so it's not allowing me to do it. But in case there are no pending actions, this particular move should go through seamlessly. So that's the order section. Again, I'm not diving deep into all of the settings and the options that we provide, primarily given the time constraint that we have. And also because the objective here was more to give you guys a sense of what's available, what you could probably explore. So moving on to the next tab, which is the customers tab. Here, this section contains all the customers that you've added on to the panel. So all the information related to that customer would be available here. So for example, again, if I had to go to the same customer, right, Nazifa, and click on her profile, here I would get a view of this is the entire account details section, which I have what are her business details, security, and the number of orders. And here I'll get a view of what are the invoices that have been generated against her and what are the orders that are available. So if you want to look at a customer specific view, this really helps. So here, for example, I have an invoice for a product that I purchased in her name. So that invoice is showing up here, which is a system invoice for that order. And then there are these 3 orders that we purchased under her name. So this view basically helps you uh, get a more customer filtered view. And another thing that I kind of wanted to talk about here was, as a web pro, you can log into your customer's account as well. So if I had to click on this area here, log into customer account, it takes me to Nazifa's control panel. So if Nazifa tomorrow was to, and Nazifa here is the web pro's customer, if she was to log into her customer panel, this is the view that she would get, where again, it's very similar to what we saw for the WebPro, where the actions here are the shortcuts are upfront. In case there are any renewals that need to be done, she can take those actions as well. So if I were to hit renew here, it would give me the details of the product, pay online, and the gateway. So these gateways that you see here, they need to come from the payment gateway that we are integrating. So when I say we, I mean as a web professional, the payment gateway that you integrate with the system, those payment gateways will start showing up here, so that the whatever amount that gets paid goes into your account. And then we also have the popular filters of when will the product, what are the orders under processing, what are the orders which will expire soon. And again, the same timeline view that we had there will be available here as well. And finally, the next section is about billing. So as a client, if I, as your customer, basically, if I have any invoices that have been raised against me, it could be a product invoice or it could be a service-based invoice as well, which I'll talk about soon. Those invoices will start showing up here. And your customer can basically get a view of what is it that needs to be paid, what is it that has been paid, etc. So this is the customer view that I just shared with you. And if I had to go back, right? So this was the customers tab where we looked at what's the information that we can see inside the customer, what the customer panel looks like. And here again, we have all the necessary filters in case you have suspended a client, made a particular client inactive, all that information sort of sits here. Now, if you think about it, the reason why we've done all of this is to make sure that you have a central place to maintain all your information, whether it's order related or customer related, so that there's a single convenient place for you to view all your data and consume it. Now, you could create different reports out of this later by downloading the list and doing some stuff online. But a lot of this is kind of automated within the panel for you. The next section is the billing section. So actually with billing, we've made a few changes on the WebPro panel, and I'll come to it. One is that currently you see 2 tabs here within billing. One is manual invoices and the other is system invoices. The difference between the two is that with manual invoices, which I'll come as to how you can create those invoices, you can basically create invoices for your services. So if you're creating a website design service or a logo design, something of that sort, all those invoices will start showing up here. And with system invoices, all the product related invoices. So if there was any invoice, let's say that you had, or any invoice that got generated in the system for renewal of business email or addition of a hosting product, etc. So all those product related invoices will start showing up here for you. So you will know exactly what are the invoices that were raised for products and what are the invoices that you raised for the service that you were providing to the particular client. And with all invoices, you get a detailed view of every invoice that's available. I'll come back to this view again, specifically for manual invoices, given that that's a different feature from, or a new feature that we have as compared to the old panel. But this is sort of the view here. And apart from invoices, we also give you a view of receipts. So basically, if you use the old panel, you know that there is a concept of invoices as well as receipts. So all the system invoices that get generated, all the ones that are paid, for those there are corresponding receipts that get generated, and those receipts start showing up here. Again, these are receipts between you and your customer that are generated for the order. So this is the view for business where we talk about orders, customers, and billing. So this is the core part of how we feel the WebPro runs their business. And the next part that I'll talk about is the more exciting, the more tool heavy part of it called Pro Suite. So the way that we've created the Pro Suite, or the way that we've structured the Pro Suite, is that there are multiple modules that are available within Pro Suite that help you with different kind of problem statements. So the customer panel, that's something we already saw, that you can, when your customer logs in, what does he or she see, and what are the actions that they can take. The second one is Pro Invoices. So I'll quickly run through what this is. In the billing section, we saw manual invoices. Those manual invoices were generated through this module. So now, as a web pro, we are giving you the capability to generate invoices for your services, and for that particular problem statement, we allow you to create custom templates. And the reason why we do this is because we want to make sure that as a web professional, you can generate professional looking templates or professional looking invoices. So like, for example, right now I have a choice of 4 different templates here. Now, if let's say I was to like something like this, right? I can choose a different template. I can choose what kind of color do I want the template to be in so that it matches my branding. So I can change this to green or red and upload a logo. So at this point of time, I added a dummy logo here. In case you have a different logo, you can go ahead and do that. Then you can add your address details here, make to the generic stuff that you need on an invoice. That's the input we need. A tax ID in case you do want to make sure that the GSTIN is in there. And finally, the billing information. So it could be a bank, your entire bank related information in case you want to get it through net banking, or in case you want to do a UPI transfer, the information, you can add that information here in other details. So for example, I could add here test, add UPI, and save it. So going forward, all your invoices will have this information, and your clients can essentially then make payments to this handle. Now, once you finalize this invoice template, you can go ahead and start creating invoices. So how the creation works here is that you look at this blank template here. You can choose the client you want to bill. So let's say you bill Jayesh. You can create a bill for him, and let's say you want to bill him for website design. In that case, we talk about website design service. In case, since this is an India customer, you can add the HSN code. You can choose how much GST you want to apply and what kind of amount you want to fill in. Now here we also provide the option of giving a discount. So in case you want to give a percentage discount, let's say 10% discount, and let's say you've also received some payment upfront. So all of that is already handled. And in case there is a due date that needs to be added, we can do that. So let's say you want to get paid in the next 30 days, that date starts showing up in the invoice as well. So this is an invoice that will get sent to this customer of yours, and he'll have the information that, I need to make this payment by this date, and this is the amount that I need to pay. So you can do a preview and send before, so that you can get to see the final copy of what it looks like. And then you send this email. So when you send the email to the customer, Jayesh B, he or she will get the email from your ID. It will not be a ResellerClub ID that they'll get the email from. So the branding will continue to remain your own. So if I send this email out, the invoice gets sent, done. And now if you see, I landed on the billing section, and this is the invoice that started showing up. If I click on this invoice, you'll see that there are multiple actions that I as a user can take. I can download it, print it, resend it. I can record again. If I got a partial payment, I can record it here, mark it as bad debt, cancel it. Or in case I receive the full amount, I can just mark it as fully paid. And that changes the status, marks it as paid here, marks it as paid here as well. And you can see that the invoice status has changed. And then you can always filter for your paid, unpaid invoices. And if you're looking for data on a particular time period, you can do that as well and download this meta information so that in case you want to look at this information outside of the system, you can do that as well. So this basically covers the pro invoices section where we're trying to help solve the problem of invoicing and making sure that the overheads involved in billing are taken care of. Apart from that, we have API settings. So in case you want to resell our products not on Supersite, but you have your own storefront, but you want to resell our products, we do have a API section here which allows you to set up use those APIs and set up the APIs as and when you want to use it. I won't go too deep into it, given that there's enough documentation around it. So in case you do want to check it out, please do read the documents, and this would definitely be helpful in case you're planning to run a storefront with multiple vendors that you're going to use to sell or resell the products. Finally, the other one that I wanted to talk about was Supersite. Now, Supersite is a ready-made storefront that we provide to all our web pros. So in case you want to resell our products, this is a ready-made storefront with all the pages set up that you can use to basically resell our products. So if I had to look at it here, when you come to this section, this is what your URL or your Supersite URL would look like. And if I had to click on this here, you will see that this is a default template that's available for everyone. So all the pages start showing up here, and it has basically all the products with the pricing. I will talk about how you can set the pricing for these products brief after this section, but this basically allows you a quick and easy way to resell the products. And if let's say I was a customer that okay, I think that's no problem. Right. So if I was a customer that came to your Supersite, I would need to sign in, and these credits essentially would be from the customer panel here. So if I had my details from here, I would pull those details in and log in from here. So let's say if I had to use right. So now I've logged in as a customer of that particular reseller, and I'm seeing the Supersite that's available with all the pricing set, etc. So if I had to, let's say, as your customer, if I had to buy a Google Workspace, I would check out this page, look at what's feasible, and let's say I wanted to purchase the business standard Google Workspace. I click on this. I'd say buy now. Let's say there's a test domain I already have. And finally, I'd reach the payment option page. So this is the page where the payment gateways that you integrate will start showing up. So in case you have integrated your PayU, CC Avenue, or whatever payment gateway that you have up here, it will start showing up here, and the user can just click on it and pay on them. So if you are reselling, all the payments can be made through the payment gateway functionality, and even receive the payments on the go. And this basically talks about how you can leverage the Supersite. Obviously, the Supersite that we saw right now was a very bare bones, plain vanilla Supersite. In case you want to customize your Supersite, we do have that option here. If you click on this, it opens up the entire section of how you can make those changes. Again, this is a very heavy and uh, feature heavy element. I again would not be able to get into all the details of how and when you can make these changes, but I would definitely encourage you to look at this admin area so that you can figure out what are the changes, what are the files, CSS items that you can change to get a more improved Supersite up and running and start reselling our products. So that was about Supersite. And the next element that we wanted to talk about was payment gateways. So payment gateways is a more recent feature that we launched on the WebPro panel. This was something that was previously, or rather is currently supported on the old panel. And the way that we have gone about building this feature is that currently we have support for three gateways: PayPal, PayU, and CC Avenue at this point. And what you can essentially do is, in case you have account, if you have an account with either of these three, you can go in here and fill in the details. So if you want your payment gateway to be called something, so let's say it's called PayU Pro, that's what you want to call it. So we can keep that as the name. You can have some sort of details. So all the details that are needed for that gateway need to be put in here. How do you want to receive the money, which currency? We do have fraud control settings as well. So in case you want to disable gateway from certain countries, so let's say I want to, let's say, for example, for now I want to disable Afghanistan. So I can choose that here. And all users who are coming in from Afghanistan, uh, or rather who have chosen that they are from Afghanistan, they will not be able to make, or they will not be able to make payments through this particular gateway. And finally, we also have an element of approving pending transactions. So if there are transactions that get stuck and need some sort of manual approval, we can set up this setting here, which talks about if it's pending for, let's say, 1 day or 2 days, then you'll start getting reminders for that. And once you've done this, you can save this and add the gateway, and it will start showing up here. So we added it here. So right now it's showing up towards the end because we already had some test gateways that we had added. You can, so if there are multiple gateways that you've added, what you can do is there's an option of changing display positions. What it does is, if I want to pull this up higher, I can do this here and save the position. So what this will do is whenever my WebPro visits the Supersite, this is the gateway that will show up first. This is the gateway that will show up second, and this is the gateway that will show up third. So this is how you kind of set up the gateway. And for now, we've added only three gateways. Going forward, we will be adding more as well, support for more as well, so that you can receive payments by other gateways as well. And all the transactions that come through from the gateway can be seen through this view. Currently, you'll see all failed transactions here because this is a test account. So don't worry that your transactions won't fail. It's just that we're testing a few elements here. So you'll see a lot of failed transactions here. So all the elements related to that particular transaction will start showing up here. And you can filter it by statuses as well as date. And finally, we also have a global settings page, which for now it has just one setting. We will be adding more. What you can specify here is what is the minimum amount or the minimum cart value that you want the WebPro to purchase so that he can use the payment gateway. So the reason why we've added this in is because it's possible that your payment gateway charges are high. So you don't want the user or the customer to pay via the gateway if the cart value is too low. So if they're purchasing, let's say, something for $5, the payment gateway transaction fees are too high, so your margins get eaten into, and you really don't want to, support those kind of purchases. So for that, you can use this particular field and sort of change this here. And this basically completes the journey on ProSuite. So with ProSuite, like I mentioned, we're adding more tools here, adding more value here into the panel for you guys. So all the modular elements that are available will be available here. You can always go in, check it out, see how it works, and enable them. And all of them are free. So there's you're not really charging anything for it. We're just trying to solve the problem in the most efficient way possible. And finally, we have a My Shop section as well. So like we saw on the Supersite, if a customer comes onto your Supersite, they see a certain pricing, right? So how do you control that pricing? This is that section wherein you can set how much profit margin do you want to set, what is the selling price that you want to keep. So for example, here you can see all the products that are available for reselling, they are present here. And let's say you want to change the margins for enterprise email. So you go in there, you look at the entire section here, and there are multiple ways through which you can make this change. One is that you go drill down inside that particular element. So if you have enterprise emails, there are multiple plans that are available for different accounts. So you can either drill down into 1 to 5 account and look at what the add and renew pricing is. You can set them up separately, or what you can also do is you can just say that, I want a 50% markup for all, set this up here, and that gets applied. So all your prices should start reflecting a 50% markup. Now, this is for, again, 1 to 5 accounts. Similarly, if you wanted to set it up for, let's say, all the accounts, you could use this feature here. So all the profit percentages over enterprise email will start reflecting that percentage. And another thing is that if you want to go a level higher, where you're saying that not just for enterprise email, I want the same percentage profit for all my products, then you can choose this option where you can just choose what percentage you want here, and just set this up. Basically, it's a single step upload, so you don't need to kind of go through each and every product and set it up, in case that's how you wish to do it. And finally, given that tax also comes into the picture, depending on what kind of tax rates do you want to apply in which region, you can start employing that. So for now, let's say we have employed the EU. EU is something that you define that this is an EU tax rate. What is it called, and what is the tax rate that you want to apply? So if I had to, let's say, go to an inactive tax rate. So for India, if I had to edit this, I can always go and choose what label I want, what is the percentage I want. So going forward, all your customers will be taxed on this rate. So anytime you're reselling, the pricing and the tax related information or setting those up, all that data will be available here. So that was about my shop. I think we've sort of completed the loop on the panel. Again, this was a very high level overview. I couldn't do a deep dive given that we have limited time, and I wanted to just touch upon what are the elements that are available on the WebPro panel. So this is sort of the view, or this is the basic functionality that is available. We've also added support for languages as well. So in case you are a user who has a different language preference, they can always come in here and choose a different language, and the panel converts into that language for you. So this was about it in terms of the demo. I'll quickly switch to my presentation. Please give me a second. All right. So I hope so now that we've gone through the demo, we've talked about the panel. I think we have a good enough idea, or the idea of model convey was available. So I think convey that. And the next thing that we wanted to talk about was what are the things that we're coming up with, at least immediately on the roadmap that will be coming in soon in the next 3 to 4 months. So just want to talk through a few of these. So the first one is the ability for your customers to pay for unpaid orders. So currently, your customers can renew their orders. They can pay for that. They can pay by Supersite. But if there are orders that you have purchased for them, which still have an outstanding unpaid invoice, that support has not been added yet. With this, we'll start doing that as well. So after this particular item is complete, your customers can pay you for, if you have a payment gateway integrated, they can pay you for everything across the board, for unpaid orders as well as for renewals via the customer panel. The second thing that we are adding in after talking to a lot of you, one of the feedbacks that we received was, given that a lot of our orders or a lot of our information is on the panel, we want to make sure that there is an additional layer of security that's available. So for that, the two-factor authentication for with GAuth is something that we're working on currently. The third one is the ability to upgrade plans. Again, this is something which allows you to natively upgrade within the panel all the plans. Let's say if you want to go from a reseller R1 to R2, that is something that we'll start supporting with this. The fourth one is support for additional payment gateways. Currently, like I said, we just have support for 3. PayPal, CC Avenue, and PayU. Going forward, we will be focusing on getting a few more payment gateways like Paytm, Skrill, Moneybooker, etc. in as well, so that there are more options for you to explore from a payment gateway perspective. Fine. The other one, the next one is on supporting management of system invoices, credit notes, debit notes, and receipts. So currently, on the old panel, if you guys have used that, you would notice that once an order is purchased, there are multiple financial instruments that get raised between you and your customer. They could be in system invoices, they could be receipts, credit notes, debit notes, etc. We want to make sure that we add support for these instruments, primarily because when we are moving users from the old panel to the new panel, we want to make sure for those users this experience remains consistent, and all the actions that you used to take on the old panel are supported with the new panel as well. And finally, given all this, we do end up getting a lot of feedback from our users, and we do know that there are bugs that come up as well. So as an ongoing effort, we would make sure that we're doing bug fixes as well, and the experience remains consistent for you guys, and there are no breaks. Having said that, it's software, so things do break now and then. Our endeavor would be to make sure that we provide you the best experience and don't fail you for a very long time. So that's what's coming up. We are excited as a team to bring this to you, and we hope that this will hit you in the next 3 to 4 months. And we're excited to get more feedback from you, talk to you, and get more insights. I just wanted to conclude by saying that there is a survey that the team has shared already. Please do look it over and fill it in. It should not take you more than a minute or two. This would definitely help us in improving our offering and also giving you more value from the panel. So this was it, guys. I hope this was helpful for you guys, and you could take away at least something from here. I would quickly, I know that we've kind of taken some longer than expected, but I just wanted to check in and do a quick Q&A. If there were any questions, we could address them. So I quickly, in case you guys have any questions, please do add them in the Q&A section so that we can look it over. All right. I see one question from Yogesh, which talks about are more payment gateways like Razor Pay planned? So yes, Yogesh, we definitely are planning to add more payment gateways. Currently, Paytm is actually the one that we have on the roadmap. In terms of Razor Pay, that is something also that we will like to evaluate, given that it's a very popular option among a lot of the web professionals. So to answer your question, definitely in the roadmap, as you saw, the things that are coming up, we are planning to add more gateways, and that's the short of it. The second question was with Amit Gaur. How do we customize the Supersite? Can we add SMS panel to send alert to clients? So Amit, we can customize Supersite. So if you go to the Pro Suite section, like I mentioned, you can go to the Pro Suite section. You can go to Supersite there, and within Supersite, like we saw, there was a section that called out Customize My Supersite. So if you click on Customize My Supersite, it will take you to a different panel which has all the properties which you can use to change the CSS, the look and feel of your Supersite, and make it more brand specific to your own web agency. So that is something that I would definitely ask you to explore. In terms of SMS, I think we don't really have that included at this point of time, but that is definitely an interesting idea that we would want to evaluate. But as of now, we don't really have an ability to send out SMSs from there. There's another question from Shubh, which talks about how do we convert old panel view to new WebPro panel. So Shubh, there are two ways to do it. So currently the way that we do it is we look at, since on the WebPro panel, we don't have all the features that are there on the old panel. We after every point of time, we look at users that we can migrate from that old panel basis the features that they use and get them onto the WebPro panel. So that's an ongoing effort that we as a team internally do. However, in case you feel that you really want to get the new WebPro panel, and you want to test it out, you can always raise a request with the support team, or you can let us know what your RID is. We'll definitely get that processed for you so that you can try out the new WebPro panel. And we'll be really happy to hear from you on what feedback you have on what can be improved on the WebPro panel. We are very excited to, get more feedback from people on this. Okay, I have another question from Ale, which says email notification for reseller for price updates. Okay, so if I understand this correctly, Ale, you mean that whenever there are price updates that you make, you want to make sure that there are email notifications that go out to your customers, or no? Oh, you're talking about you getting email updates whenever there are price revisions. So generally, I'll answer both the questions because I'm not really sure what the question is. But the first part, whenever there are price revisions on ResellerClub, we do try and send out the pricing revisions upfront so that you guys are aware of those changes. In terms of if you change any pricing on your Supersite, we don't send out, as of now at least, we don't send out those notifications to your customers that the pricing has been updated on your Supersite. So that currently is not a part of the platform at this point. But again, an interesting point that you raise, would definitely take this back to the team as feedback. All right, I think there's another session that's going on, so I want to close this now. Thank you everyone for taking the time and listening to whatever we had to present on the panel. I hope you guys got some value out of it. Please do fill in the survey again. This would be really helpful, and we would be getting in touch with a lot of you over the course of the day to get more feedback, to hear from you, and we want to make sure that there's continuous communication that's happening, because we will be iterating on this panel through the year. So thanks a lot, guys. I hope this was helpful, and have a really good Cloud Bazaar. Thank you again.